Okay, so you can see here I've got a file set up with my drawing where I've drawn some lines on layers that I've also set up. You can see there in the Layer Properties Manager. I don't have all the layers that we've looked at, but I've got a lot of them. I've also got dimensions and text, which I've set up using, just to remind you, text styles. So it's important that you have a few of those set up. And also dimension styles. So I've set up my own dimension styles. And then I've inserted a couple of useful block, or one useful block here, which I've given you. That's the label. So this is the one I've given you today. It's in the week's 6 folder as well, actually, but I've given you a copy in the week 9 folder. It's this one here, ref DET 50. So the 50 just means it's 1 to 50. And so that's the scale it'll work for. And then I've also got a layout page set up as well, with a title block inserted. And so all of those things are likely going to be used again in almost the same way in the later exercises. So we may as well set this up so we can have a file that stores all those settings. So firstly, as always, I'm going to save this file so that I don't lose any work I've done in that drawing. And then I'm going to start clearing things out. I don't want any of that drawing to stay. I want that to be blank. Now, don't worry about deleting blocks, because the blocks are stored in your drawing file anyway. When you go to Insert, you'll see all the blocks that you've inserted previously in that panel there. And so they are stored in this file. So you don't need to worry about keeping them there as physical objects in your drawing. Now I'm going to go to the layout page, and well, there actually I can keep this title block the way it is, and if I need to change the details I can just double click on that and change what I need to. So I'll leave that one there actually, and that's a pretty good setup. So maybe the only thing I might also change is a reminder of the sheet size. So I'm going to rename that layout by right clicking on the tab. Going to go to rename, and we'll say it's A3 at well, we know it's 1 to 50, so A3 at 1 to 50 should be a good name for it. That's up to you though, just give it a name that you're going to remember. Layout 2 I don't really need, so I'm going to right click on that one and delete it. Don't be afraid to delete layouts, they're easy to make, and it doesn't delete anything that you've drawn in your model space. So that's it. Now, to make a template, this is the easiest thing in the world. Go to the main menu, Save As, Drawing Template. It's that easy. Then you need to browse to your own folder and choose where you want to save it. And give it a sensible name. So you can call it CAD, maybe CAD 1 exercise template. You'll probably make a much better template than this later on, but for now that's enough. And it's optional to put in a description, but again, I can just put something there. And make sure the units or the measurements on metric there. And just leave Save All Layers as unreconciled. That's fine. So click OK. So that should be all you need to do. But I just want to point out one final thing. make sure before you try and create a template from a drawing file that you've started with AutoCAD ISO. So when you made the new file originally, here, new, and then drawing, or just click to where it says new. Either way, it'll give you a list of templates, and you've got to use this one, not AutoCAD. If you're using AutoCAD, you're creating work for yourself, AutoCAD ISO has better settings.
Can you flip that?
Yeah, one way, if you look at your scales here, so if you only see the metric scales, that's AutoCAD ISO. If you see the metric and the imperial scales, so the imperial scales have things like 1 inch equals 1/64th of an inch or something like that, 1 foot equals 1/64th of an inch or something, all those kinds of scales, where it's got fractions essentially, they're imperial scales for working with feet and inches. No, no. It's even worse, if you only see those, that means you've used an imperial template, which is no good at all. But if you, even if you see both these metric scales, so the metric scales are things like 1 to 100, 1 to 200, 1 to 50 and so on. So that's it. That should give you a starting point. And so I'm going to close this file now. And so now, when I need to start a new file, I can go to the main menu, choose New, and then Browse to find my template file, which I know I've saved in this location. So you need to know where you're saving things and organise the files so that you can find things. Give them names that you're going to remember as well. Here it is, CAD 1 exercise template. And there it is set up with my layers, title block, text style and everything else. So I can just start drawing text, drawing dimensions and drawing things on layers. And that saves a lot of time.
So if you've already drawn something, can you